Hey guys, welcome back to Silent Hill 3. We are going to pick up where we left off and finish the game. So let's start off with these church paintings right here that pretty much detail the history of the order, or at least their creation mythology. One, origin. In the beginning, people had nothing. Their bodies ached and their hearts held nothing but hatred. They fought endlessly, but death never came. They despaired, stuck in the eternal quagmire. Sounds like modern day real life, doesn't it? Not much has changed in the past few thousand years. Birth. A man offered a serpent to the sun and prayed for salvation. A woman offered a reed to the sun and asked for joy. Feeling pity for the sadness that had overrun the earth, God was born for those two people. I've heard it said Alessa may be a reincarnation of that woman, but I don't know if I'd go that far. Especially since the mythology is clearly inspired by Christian beliefs, so I don't think it's quite accurate in the way it's portrayed. Salvation. God made time and divided it into day and night. God outlined the road to salvation and gave people joy, and God took endless time away from the people. It's interesting to see that painting because usually people are seeking immortality. Here it was the reverse. Apparently people were immortal before God intervened, and what God gave them was actually mortality. Kind of reminds me a bit of the argument Janos Audron makes in Legacy of Kain, where the ancients' immortality was a curse, not a blessing, from their enemies. You know, kind of a bit of a different perspective than what you normally see. Especially since some religions are mainly seeking immortality, this one's the reverse. Here's everybody's favorite painting. Because of that guy in the corner, you see him right there? I didn't even notice it was a pyramid head when I originally saw it. I still don't think it is, but it is clearly whatever inspired Pyramid Head. 4. Creation. God created beings to lead people in obedience to her. The red god, Chuchiobara, the yellow god, Lopsovif, many gods and angels. Finally, God set out to create paradise where people would be happy just by being there. It's also speculated Valtio might be the yellow god. 5. Promise. But there God's strength ran out and she collapsed. All the world's people grieved this unfortunate event, yet God breathed her last breath. No, yet God breathed her last. She returned to the dust, promising to come again. That's also another difference between this and many main religions. Their God isn't omnipotent here. She has her limits. 6. Faith. So God hasn't been lost. We must offer our prayers and not forget our faith. We wait and hope for the day when the path to paradise will be open. And you see the opening right there in the church that you'll see later on in the game. Or at least is modeled after it. There's nothing I can do with the organ. I don't know how to play anyway. You mean you didn't learn any marketable skills, Heather, like any other common teenager? We don't learn shit nowadays. Look at this hand-drawn map. Silent Hill has a few maps like this across the series, but the difference between this one and the others is that this one is obviously drawn by a child, or at least what would be a child normally. Whereas Silent Hill 4's maps are just bad. They're just plain bad, period. They're not supposed to be terrible or horrible. They just actually are. So this is a very important section right here. I'll let you know right now, since we are going for the bad ending or the negative ending, we are going to do this right here. You know, we've already killed all the monsters we need to kill. Now we're going to cement it. Because the bad ending is actually a lot more interesting than the good one in this game, so we are going for the negative ending. I don't know who that is right there. Could that be Leonard before his transformation, that fat guy right there? At first, people speculate this is the spirit of Dahlia, but I really don't believe it. Dahlia was completely merciless and ruthless. This woman obviously is not, so I think it's just a plain old regular test for Heather.
Please forgive me. I know I'll be put to death for the sins I've committed. And I'll go to my death gladly, and with a peaceful heart. But please, grant me just a small piece of your everlasting mercy. Let me see my child once within your golden gates. Deliver me not to hell, but to purgatory. Allow me to atone for my sins there. I'll stand within the very flames of redemption, no matter how they burn me. Forgive me for my wicked act of revenge. And deliver the soul of my poor murdered daughter. Please, also care for the soul of the girl whose life I have taken. God, I am a child, trembling with fear as I stare at death. Soothe my tortured soul with your infinite mercy. Please, forgive me.
I really wish they explained who that man is. It's probably one of the developers, but in the story, who is he actually? I'm guessing he probably is Leonard before his change. Alright, so what do we do? This would be the good option, but we're not going to choose that. Yep, we are God now. We can forgive anyone we want.
I forgive you.
Thank you, Lord.
There's also some really expression-filled eyes from Heather there. Like, there's modern developers who don't make facial details as well as this. Lots of them. Yeah, Heather's not quite sure what she just did there, but there's nothing more to be said. We've chosen our path, as Vorador would say. Had the feeling that someone on the other side of this door, but the door shut tight and it can't open it no matter how hard I try. Well, duh, we just talked to her. Yeah, obviously Dahlia did practically murder her daughter, but it wasn't out of revenge, it was out of greed and lust for power. And at the same time, she didn't kill anyone else's daughter. You could kind of stretch it maybe to say she killed Cheryl, but Cheryl's right here, so obviously she didn't really kill her. It was a lot more complicated. So I think this is just a spirit of some random woman. It looks like what happened was someone killed her daughter, so instead she killed the other person's daughter in retaliation. Now she feels sorry for it and wants to get some forgiveness before she goes to the electric chair or the hangman's noose or whatever they use to execute you. Maybe it already happened, maybe she already died and that's just her spirit. I don't think it's a creation of Heather's though. Not everything is a creation of Heather's. Nope, we're not gonna go in there yet, just yet. So, how was your Thanksgiving week? Was it last week, pretty much? Yeah, it was last week, wasn't it? Hope it was better than mine's, you know. Someone I know almost died. But the actual holiday was okay, but someone I know almost died after it, so... Hope your Thanksgiving week turned out better than mine did. That scared me a bit when I first played this game, but they are changed now. They're dripping with black blood. But not as much as what the room transforms into later on. That really scared me when I first played the game. Let's get out our stun gun because we're gonna need it. The stun gun is really useful for those enemies. It doesn't really work for anything else. Maybe the scratchers or whatever they call that are roaming the halls here. They're not the missionaries. That's the boss fight. But whatever these monsters are, clerics, scratchers, I don't know, whatever they are that are roaming the halls, it kind of works for them, but nothing else. Obviously, you can't use it against the slurper monsters on the ground. They're too low. Can't use it against dogs because they're too fast. You sure as hell can't use it against the needle monsters. So I think that's pretty much the only use for the stun gun. Those fat guys. Sucks for them. Shelves are covered with file folders and boring books. There's no useful information here as far as I can tell. Got a tape. Salap blanket. I don't think y'all need it. I'm not cold. You could wrap it like a cloth, like a cape. There are a bunch of papers in this file. I get the feeling there's a handwritten copy of some book. Can you imagine there was a time and a date when there wasn't a printing press and you literally had to hand copy every book by hand? There were people who would spend their entire lives doing that, just producing a few handwritten copies of a book. Can you imagine that age, centuries and centuries ago, when there was no printing press? You had to hand copy a book if you wanted to share it. That's crazy. It's also crazy when you imagine what was lost in the Library of Alexandria. All those copies of handwritten scrolls, thousands of them. People put their entire lives into it, and then poof, they just went up in one big pile of smoke and fire. Represents the deity known as the halo of the sun, and heraldry symbolizes a religious group. The two outer circles are charity and resurrection. The three inner circles are past, present, past, and future. Usually drawn in red, occasionally drawn in black or other colors, but blue reverses this meaning into a curse on God and is therefore forbidden. Right, so if we want to cast a magic spell, we should use the blue one. Heather might know if she could remember some of her old memories. Think Alessa might have been able to cast that spell. Heather's obviously just a normal teenager with some slight intuition, so unfortunately she can't do much of anything. There's numbers written on the walls too. You see them in 3, 2, 2, 9. I always wonder what those means. What do they signify? Alright, let's stun this guy. Yeah, kick him in the shoulder, Heather. That'll teach him. You ain't shit. So we should have enough monsters already, but we gotta kill everyone here just in case. Just in case, we still don't have enough. It's a picture here of an angel flying into the heavens, nothing special. So obviously these are supposed to be Alessa's footprints, and she was completely unappreciated by the cult and her own parent. It's a picture here of an angel, blah blah blah. I get the feeling there's something behind this picture though. That girl's cries and footsteps disappeared beyond it after all. Will you move the picture of the angel? Yes. And we have a door. So wheelchair here, just a plain old wheelchair. Alright, we got an 8, a C, 13. What else can we see in the walls? This is a really interesting room. Saint Jennifer, unwavering faith under death's blade. She was the one who was talked about in Silent Hill 2, Jennifer Carroll, who got persecuted and presumably killed by the Christians in the town. Sounds like a lot of today's Christian extremists, don't it? So I think that shows what happened to the town's religion, because it's called the cult, and obviously people think of it as a cult, but the problem is I think it was actually a peaceful religion at first, and I think this, along with other events, may have been what drove it to become more violent. Because if you're being harassed and persecuted by the quote-unquote main religion in the town, and they're being violent against you, then your only means might be to become violent against them. So I think when they killed this woman, Saint Jennifer, that might have been the moment when the religion started transitioning from just a peaceful native religion into this demonic cult, because they figured they had to fight fire with fire. The only way they're going to get the Christians to back off is if you force them to back off. And they did. And now the town's a hellscape. So good going, Christian Church. You really did some fine, upstanding work there. Jackasses. Saint Nicholas, miraculous hands, a doctor of God. I get the feeling he was probably killed too. Otherwise, they wouldn't have a picture in his honor, remembering his memory. So my guess is maybe those two people were killed by the Christian Church way back, decades and decades before, maybe in a couple centuries before, and that's why the order kind of has such a hatred for them. They brought it on themselves. Saint Alessa, Mother of God, Daughter of God. This picture, that's me. I'm holding the baby, and I'm the baby being held. The me that wanted death and disappeared with God 17 years ago, and the me here and now that sought life. Get the feeling Claudia commissioned this picture, because it's sure as hell not going to be Leonard. It's not going to be Vincent. He doesn't care enough about their mythology to actually commission this. And even though he has the money, but still, like, even though he is a believer in their God, I think in some ways he's actually more a believer than they are, because he's just following the religion and pretty much wants to be left alone. Claudia and the others are the one who are trying to force it into this whole rebirth cycle. So Vincent's a smarter follower than they are. But yeah, I don't think he's going to commission this. He just simply doesn't care enough. So I think it had to be Claudia with whatever little money she managed to scrape up. Maybe she even did it herself. Who knows what other hidden talent she has. The circle means reincarnation. That's what it said on that paper back there. So death isn't the end. Pretty good deal if you ask me. Thanks to reincarnation, I died as Alessa, but I'm still living as myself. But just the thought of it is starting to turn my stomach. Yeah, because that means that potentially you could be stuck in this whole cycle. You don't want to be reborn over and over. That's the whole crux of Raziel's dilemma in Soul Reaver. He just keeps getting reborn in different forms, and each one is basically hellish. In the first one, he's an ignorant human who basically butchers what he doesn't know are the saviors of his own world. He's persecuting the vampires. He doesn't know the vampires are the only thing keeping the Hilden from invading and wiping everyone out. So he's basically a monster in his human form. Then as a vampire, he's preying on humans now who aren't the ones who were persecuting the vampires. Now they're just regular human slaves, so he's still a monster in some respects. And then as his quote-unquote heroic self, he's basically a wraith who's little more than a skeleton in the spectral realm. So each reincarnation basically brings with it a worse and worse form in some ways. Because even the vampire one, like, he wasn't like the old noble vampires. He was still actually he was basically a monster's vampire serving under Cain, and he was destined to become this horrible mutated creature unless Cain did something about it, which he did. So yeah, if you're Raziel, you don't want to keep on living over and over again in the cycle of rebirth and death. Especially here when we know she's infected by this demonic god. You really don't want to keep living life after life meant solely to just bring it into the world. That's hell. So yeah, reincarnation is not all it's cracked up to be in certain universes. I won't even go into Raziel's fourth form because that's a huge spoiler for the games, but yeah, that form, you know what it is. If you've played Soul Reaver 2 and seen the end, you know what that fourth final form of his is. That's definitely one you don't want to be reincarnated into. Hell no. That's the ultimate hellish fate for any character in fiction. So yeah, he got really screwed. Look at Valtiel. God's attendant here, just crawling back and forth on the ground. Just slacking off and doing whatever he does when God's not here. Don't you have anything more important to do, Valtiel? Don't you have any scriptures to read or holy books to hand out or something? You're just fucking around in this world until God comes back. Don't you have anything better to do, man? You gotta get yourself a handheld console in here. You gotta get a PSP or a Game Boy or something so you can do something more interesting. Look at the IVs. That's a busted ass elevator. I'm gonna equip the body armor. I shouldn't need it right now, but we're gonna need it soon in a couple minutes. And here comes one of the game's most widely missed. Oh shit, we do need it. Damn, we died. Fuck. Oh well. I didn't know she could actually fall. Oh well, it doesn't matter. We're playing for fun, so anyway, we're just gonna continue on from. Oh damn, we start all over again. I thought I put you back over there. We should have saved. Alright, so we'll just skip it. Cause we already saw the dialogue for the woman, so we can just skip past it. Just forgive her and move on. We just examine the paintings quickly. We'll just examine everything quickly again. Also, you see they're holding a serpent and a reed. Like the mythology said, it's pretty well known there are actually segments of Christianity that worship serpents. The snake handlers in like the rural parts of certain southern countries. So that's obviously another link to Christianity there. That was probably not there in the original mythology for the native religion. Just probably something they added themselves. That serpent handling faith is pretty much a weird faith. It's basically an interpretation of a Bible passage that said Christ told them to handle serpents or snakes, something like that, and they took it literally. There was even an X-Files episode about that church. It was called Signs and Wonder. It was pretty decent. It was at a time when the show was severely declining. So it was kind of one of the last decent episodes that actually had something meaningful to say before it became all just nonsense. And I didn't know, until I actually saw that episode, I didn't know that it was the title of the church. I always thought Signs and Wonder meant it was some kind of mystical episode.
Please forgive me.
Yeah, we forgive you. I didn't know until I actually watched the episode that it literally was the Signs and Wonders, or Signs and Wonder Church. I even forgot what the threat or whatever it was in that episode. I completely forgot. Actually, we should go back and kill that closer in there just to have the body count. We don't want to fall short on our monster count. Yeah, I completely forgot what they were investigating there. I think it was one of the... Either the pastor for the church was corrupt or one of his pastors was corrupt. I completely forgot. Or he'd committed some kind of murder. I know there were snakes involved, but I completely forgot what the plot for that church was. All I remember is just the title, Signs and Wonder. That's a neat angle too. Look at there. That's a very cinematic angle right there. Get an action pose for Heather. Yeah, season 7 of the X-Files was not good. That's when the show was kind of starting to lean more towards humor. Which, funny enough, is what happened to Tails. Oh, you son of a bitch! Lie down, you damn fool! Damn, that took a chunk out of our health. With your flabby ass man tits. Those things are gross. They're basically cancerous tumors in humanoid form. It's pretty much what they are. That's why they're called insane cancer. Represents the cancer growing inside of Heather, which is the cult's god. I completely got caught off guard by that scraper. That's what they're called, scrapers. So I thought they were on the second floor. I didn't know there was one there on the first floor. St. Jennifer, St. Alessa, St. Nicholas. Oh, we skipped our first message. Oh well. Yeah, let's save this time just in case. I didn't know she could actually fall. I thought the game would pull you back. Alright, there we go. And let's equip our actual shotgun this time. Oh yeah, we should probably go back and kill that guy. Oh, might need to do it with handgun bullets though, because we do not have many shotgun shells. We gotta save those for the boss, so might have to do it with handgun bullets. Might have to kill the scraper with handgun bullets too. We need those for the boss. You can. Well, I don't know, because the boss is not that easy to fight with the shotgun. Looks like he's growing toxic waste. He's covered in it. Like he fell into one of Umbrella's pits. God damn. He's got some huge sandbag arms. Damn! This guy's invincible. Jesus Christ. I guess they're stronger in that form, because goddamn, he's taking a lot of bullets to kill. Finally, Jesus Christ. And he's still not really dead. Hit him with the mole, that'll kill him, for sure. Hit him again just in case. It looks nasty, like he's covered in toxic waste or mold or some kind of thing. It's literally looking a bit like the mold man from Control. Those mold men are no joke, by the way. I was playing Control since I've been playing a lot of it. I got into the secret area that normally you don't have to do, but it's optional in the DLC for the Foundation. I open up the elevator. There's this freaking mold man that is level 10. Level 10 enemy. For reference, at that point, even though you're never overpowered in the game, you can always die in one hit. But you're supposed to be more powerful by that point. And Jesse is level 6, so that one mold man in the elevator is more powerful than her. Come on, let's kick him. There you go. Kick him where it hurts. Yeah, as soon as I saw that thing, I just unloaded on it with all the ammo I had. Like, I think I shot a rocket at it. I just switched over to the grip and just unloaded it with ammo, because those things are no joke. They will kill you in 1 or 2 hits. And it was hiding in the elevator, protecting one of those cases that has the resources in there that you use to build mods and weapon forms and stuff. So yeah, as soon as I saw it, I didn't panic, but as soon as I saw that thing come out of the elevator, I just started shooting, because You can see the number now. I didn't notice it before when I first started playing the game, but then after a while I noticed you do see the enemy number above them, and that tells you the level the enemy's at. So if it's a 3 or 4, it's kind of tough. 1 obviously is a pushover, but that one had a level 10, so I was not gonna mess with that damn mode, man. Hell no. The mode host. Jesus, thanks to Last of Us and Control, now I really hate mode. And Resident Evil 7 too, that mode was nasty. Something about mode in video games, it produces some of the nastiest, grossest enemies you can possibly imagine. And what's worse in Control is the mode apparently smells sweet, so it compels you to eat it. And once you eat it, that's it, you're pretty much doomed. It's like the mode in Resident Evil 7, once it's inside you, it's impossible to get out, almost. And this is alien mode, so it's purely impossible to get out. So once you eat it thinking, oh, it's just a plant, no, you're screwed at that point. You turn to the mold man. Silent Hill's Ancient Gods, a study of their etymology and evolution. What a mouthful. So I imagine Silent Hill is actually a pretty, either this was written in the town or else it's actually a pretty well-known subject in some respects, because if they have entire textbooks devoted to it, obviously it's not that obscure. People kind of sort of know what's going on here, even if they don't want to admit it. There is no religion that has remained unchanged from the moment it was founded. This one is no exception. When this religion fell into the hands of immigrants, it was deeply influenced by their own original Christian beliefs. For example, the traditional representatives of these primal gods may be given the names and descriptions of Christian angels. Thus, shared characteristics began to appear. There is also one rare example of chief deity, creator of paradise, the Lord of Serpents and Reeds, being dubbed with a demon's name. Of course, this was not done by believers, but by their opponents. This is an interesting take because one thing Dahlia does is she referred to it as a demon. She calls it Samael in the first one, which is possibly a Hebrew archangel. So people wonder why she would do that. I kind of wonder if Dahlia was pretty intuitive. I wonder if she knew that because Harry was a writer, he knew some more obscure subjects, and that's how she was able to get him. You know, by giving him a name he would recognize. Because obviously she worships the god, so why would she call it Samael after a Hebrew archangel or demon? You know, when she would have no reason to. So you can look at it, oh, maybe they hadn't quite decided the mythology of the series at the time, but I think it may be also that Harry being a writer, and we don't know exactly what a writer he is. Like, Heather mentioned some mystery novels, but did he write those, or were those his favorite ones to read? So we don't know what kind of writer Harry is. He might have been an obscure horror writer, in which case he might know some religious significance. So Dahlia using that name to hide the identity of the god, that might have actually be intentional. She might be knowing that's the best way to manipulate him. Maybe he is a bit of a, you know, not an expert, but rather knowledgeable on religious subjects. Maybe he used it in his novels. Maybe that's the best way to manipulate him. You don't know. Because she's obviously not an opponent of the cult. She worships the gods. So why would she, like they said, why would she refer to it by a demon's name? Or at least by an archangel's name? It makes no sense unless she's intentionally trying to manipulate him. You know, from what we gather, Harry's a writer. So he's not just some random dumb dude like James who just goes into the town and doesn't know shit. That's not who he is. So her using that name might have been actually an attempt to manipulate him manipulate him into thinking, oh my god, I gotta stop this horrible demon. And he doesn't know it's actually her own god that she's trying to summon. These books look like real mind benders. Think I'll leave them alone for now. See if we can get the tarot one before Vincent shows up. Let's see. Oh yeah, because I think we gotta go over there and pick up the card. There's a book on tarot here. Tarot was based on the 22 Hebrew consonants and set to represent the entire world. Each card, number 0 to 21, has a particular meaning. By reading these cards, fortune tellers predict the future. For example, the first card, the Magician, signifies creation, wisdom, beginning, or destruction and fraud. The second card, the High Priestess, denotes intuition, harmony, faith, or dogmatism and arrogance. According to some texts, the Gardner deck had more than 22 cards. The Gardner deck does not exist today. It is mentioned only in the literature. It is said that these extra cards were based on lost Hebrew vowels and denoted an otherworldly transcendental existence, i.e. God. Wish we could see that Gardner deck today. That sounds really fascinating if it's true. How do you guys feel about tarot stuff like that? I don't take it seriously like palm reading and tarot cards and stuff like that, but I do think there is more to the world than what scientists or regular religious scholars know or claim that they know. You know, the universe is just too mysterious to have it all be just a bunch of random combinations of atoms and genes and dark matter or whatever it is. Like, it just like if you have two opinions basically, because one, like, most of the religious stuff people peddle is probably false. It's just envisioned or based on mythology or stuff when people didn't know better. But at the same time, like, the universe that scientists go on and on about, the whole purely physical universe where nothing has a meaning, everything is random, like, it's so boring and it's so plain that is like literally the most worthless universe you can ever envision. A universe where everything is random, there's nothing hidden or supernatural or stuff that we don't understand. It's all basic, very basic concepts. You know, it's just, it's all random arrangements of life. There's no meaning behind it. There's nothing more to be discovered. Everything is so, like, it's just like, that universe is so fucking boring and worthless. Like, why would we ever want to live in that universe? It's shit. It's literal shit. You know? So, like, if the universe really is as boring and plain as scientists make it out to be, like, it has no meaning, it has no purpose. You might as well just snap it out of existence because it's worthless. There's literally no point to existing on this fucking planet if there's nothing beyond the physical. Like, the whole planet instantly becomes worthless, 100% worthless. And not only that, like, we have trillions basically of accounts of stuff happening that scientists do not understand from the very beginning of existence. Even ancient stuff, like, most of it isn't explained away, but there's still some ancient accounts of stuff that happened that people have no explanation for. Like, I just think there has to be something more. Whether it's sort of dimensions or metaphysical stuff, like, maybe no organized religion is true, but there has to be more than life than just atoms and subatomic particles and genes. Because it's just like, the universe as we see it is too complex for it to be that simple, and, like I said, boring. It's like the question, are there aliens out there or not? Is there life outside of Earth? And there has to be. Because Earth is just one planet in trillions of galaxies. Trillions of galaxies we'll never see. But also, if there is no other life outside the solar system, if Earth is literally the best you can do, the universe is 100% shit. It's worthless. Like, because let's face it, like, humans are a pathetic species. Like, the whole civilization we've built is so corrupted and depraved. It's pathetic, you know. And if this is the best we can do, then we are living in the worst possible timeline. Like, just shut off the simulation at that point. Just shut it off, because it's a grade F fail. So no, there has to be more out there to the world and the universe than scientists understand. There has to be. You know, religious people don't know shit, but then scientists in some ways probably don't know shit either. There has to be more to the world than this. I refuse to believe that this grade A, grade F, ragged dumpster fire that exists is the best we can do. That this is the best reality and the universe can do. I refuse to believe it. There has to be something better out there than us. Has to be. Because otherwise, there's no point. What's the point in even going on? Alright, so time to shut up and let someone else rant for a while, as Vincent is about to do.
Hiya, Heather.
You show up everywhere, don't you?
You make me sound like some kind of unwanted pest.
Well, who are you anyway?
Haven't you realized that?
He's a leader, Heather. Haven't you read the damn memos?
Yeah, you're on Claudia's side.
I told you not to put me in the same category as that man.
Oh wait, she hasn't gotten to the memo about him being Father Vincent yet. My bad.
You're pretty loony yourself.
Look at the symbol in his book. It's the halo of the sun.
We believe in the same God. But I'm quite sane.
So why did you help me out then? Was that also part of trying to resurrect God?
It's not uncommon for people to worship the same God and still disagree.
God? Are you sure you don't mean devil?
Whichever you like.
You tell her, Vincent.
The point is that now I really am on your side. I don't want God to be born.
That's a nice vest he has on, though. It's pretty decent.
Convenient. Much too unpredictable.
So you've been using me to stop Claudia, is that it? Do your own dirty work.
My dirty work? I think we both had our own interests in mind. You hate her too, don't you? You're the only one who can get it done. I don't have powers like you two. Besides, I always hated getting all...
Joke's on you, Vincent. She doesn't have powers either. Not yet.
Oh, really?
I'm just looking out for myself. Everyone does it. Don't stand there looking so smug. You're the worst person in this room. You come here and enjoy spilling their blood. And listening to them cry out. You feel excited when you step on them and snuff out their lives.
Are you talking about the monsters?
Monsters? They look like monsters to you? Oh, don't worry. It's just a joke. By the way, I forgot to ask you. Did you get the seal of Metatron?
What's that?
You don't have it? Leonard was carrying it.
You mean this thing?
Yes, that's it. As long as we have that, we're fine. Here, take this.
So that scene gets misinterpreted as people believing the Header's been killing humans all this time, but the thing you have to remember is, one, Vincent is kind of a sick bastard in his own way, so he does enjoy messing with people, so it would be perfectly in character for him to tell that joke. But secondly, even if he's not joking, I think he's speaking specifically about the cult members here in the church, not everywhere else, because she's been in places where there are no people, so you know, it is literally impossible for Heather to be killing hundreds and hundreds of people all across the city and no one would ever think to stop her by shooting her. Like, that is just ridiculous. That she could literally kill all those people in the mall, in the subway, in the sewers, in the office building, everywhere, and not get shot up by a police officer or stopped by someone else. That's ridiculous. So the only way that would happen would be if she was in another dimension and they were in a different plane of existence and she was killing them from there. But then you'd hear about it all on the news broadcast in Silent Hill 4. We never hear any of that. So no, like, she is not killing hundreds of people like some idiotic message board people and fanfic writer has speculated. That's not happening. What she is killing might be the church members here, but remember, they are under Claudia's influence. So even if they weren't in monster form, they would still attack her anyway because they're under orders by Claudia to do so. So she would still have to defend herself. So even if they were human, she would feel no need to feel guilty about it. Just like Alex doesn't in Silent Hill 5 when he gets attacked by the cult members. He's defending himself, so why would you feel guilty about that? You're doing what you have to. What Vincent might be referring to, though, is that Vincent's aware of how the other world works. He knows there's presences here that they may not be quite spirits, although they probably are. But at the very least, there's something here that takes on the form of the person who comes to the town. It's call them spirit, call them presences, or ghosts or whatever, but something here changes and takes on the forms of those monsters when people come here. So on this, he might be referring to maybe like the spirits of the people who have died in the town, who then get recycled up by the power here, and they get turned into what you see as monsters, you know. Because where do those things come from? Obviously they're solid. They can hurt you and they can kill you. We knew this even back in Silent Hill 2. The notes stated, you know, one person might not see them, but that's not going to stop them from killing you anyway. So what are they? And my best guess is that they are kind of souls of some kind, either spirits or, like I say, I think my best guess is probably they're the spirits of people who have died in the town, and then they get recycled and, oh hell no, they get recycled and used up for this purpose of becoming these monsters that people see. You know, the twisted forms you see everywhere, because they're not just hallucinations. A hallucination is not going to be able to physically stab you or impale you or bite you to death. That's not going to happen. Unless it's that stupid hallucination Ada deals with in Resident Evil 4 separate ways. But that's a whole other subject. The point is, there has to be something physical to the monsters, otherwise they won't be able to harm you. All they could do is just, you know, cause you mental pain. But otherwise, the fact that they can actually kill people who failed their trials in the town speaks to them being something physical, you know. Oh, this looks like it's burning. I didn't notice that before. It is like a burning pit. I think Valtiel shows up there, tormenting one of the nurses. Poor Lisa. But yeah, like, it's not hallucinations, and it's not people. They're not all people transformed into monsters. Like I said, I think there's something there, and depending on who you are, Claudia might see them as beautiful angels, and then Heather sees them as demons, and that's where the middle line comes in. Where Vincent, he's aware of them, but he doesn't quite know what she sees. So when she tells him she sees monster, it probably takes him aback, because remember, deep down inside, she is still Alessa, priestess of the order. So why would she see monsters? But that's what she sees. For Claudia, she's probably been describing them as angels. And we don't know what he sees. If he sees anything, he might not, you know. But also, even then, like, even if it is just monsters too, he still has a valid point, because, like, from his perspective, it would look like Heather enjoys killing them. So, you know, even if they are just servants of God, whatever they are, like, it's still, from his perspective, the sheer body count would seem pretty sadistic on her part, you know. So either way, he's got a point, but it's not. I think it is partly a joke, and then it's also, like I say, he's not describing regular random people across the city. He's describing either one, the cult members here in the town, you know, who have been transfigured by Claudia's power into monsters, or two, the actual servants of their god, like the spirits, souls, whatever you want to call them, ghosts, who take on those forms and then get killed by Heather. Either way, he's not talking about just random human people off the street. Like, that's a totally stupid theory that people came up with, and that's also why I think storytelling has lost the art of subtlety nowadays in some respects. Remedy still has it. They still have subtle storytelling. Naughty Dog tries to have it with The Last of Us, that they don't quite succeed. But yeah, because, like, if you're too subtle with your storytelling, people will not understand you. They will not understand what you're trying to tell them. They'll misinterpret it, and then they go off and spout off all sorts of crazy, asinine, stupid theories that have no basis in the series. So you have to be very clear with people nowadays. You have to tell them exactly what the meaning of a story is. And when you do that, then they complain that you're not being subtle enough. But when you try being subtle, this is the shit that happens. People come up with loony, asinine, stupid theories that are just make no sense within the game. So you can't have it both ways. You can't lament the absence of subtlety in storytelling nowadays, and people do it everywhere with TV, film, books, games, etc. You can't lament the absence of subtlety, and then when people try to be subtle, you completely miss their point and you misinterpret what they're saying in a bunch of stupid theories. You can't have it both ways. Either you have to pay attention to let authors work their subtlety, and writers for games and TV shows and movies, or you have to accept that writers are going to tell you straight up what the message is, because they don't trust you to be smart enough to figure it out on your own. They think you're stupid, and a lot of times you prove them right, you know. So it's a very, very delicate balance, and I don't blame or envy writers in that position, because what do? Do you go obvious and accuse them of being a hack? You know, they accuse you of being a hack because they don't understand what you're telling them. I mean, they think you're insulting their intelligence by telling it too bluntly. You know, you're being too straight with them. Then they just say, oh, he can't do subtlety or she can't do subtlety because you know, they don't want to risk confusing the audience. So do you go subtle? Do you go subtle and then risk people just completely misinterpreting your work, and then they start to attack you because it doesn't match up with what they've conceived in their minds? Even with Remedy, all these bodies on the floor wrapped in plastic, what a nightmare. I'm just glad they don't seem about to get up anytime soon. I wish they would. They should get up. Night of the Living Dead, Silent Hill style. Or Return of the Living Dead, whichever one you prefer. I don't think I want to. There's nothing important here. I haven't looked too closely though. I don't think I want to. Yeah, even Remedy, like, the door's open. Inside there's someone wrapped in a bag. Maybe? No, they're definitely dead. They're probably not dead, Heather. They're probably not. It's a huge zipper too. Look at the size of the thing. It's like a human hand. Oh, there's a tarot card right there. I was wondering where it was. Even Remedy, like, slight spoiler for Control. Just a slight spoiler, but they have the board in the game, which gives you instructions of the astral plane. You know, the board. The Black Pyramid. And remember, I hadn't really played the game that much until now, and that's when I really gotten into it. But I'm reading the comments on certain YouTube videos, like the ones explaining the lore. Like, Gaming University does some great ones. There's one or two I kind of disagree with, but Gaming University does some very, very great videos. They have 33 of them. You should definitely check those out if you're a Remedy fan or a Control fan or even an Alan Wake fan. Check out those videos. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. You have the board in the game, which gives you instructions. Okay, they tell you where to go, they help you out, blah, blah, blah. But because it's called the board, and I thought, I admit I might have been guilty of this a bit too at first when I first started playing the game in the very, very beginning. But since it's called the board, I've seen comments by people saying, oh, they think, oh, it's the board of the former directors. You know, all the directors who are dead now. That's their souls, you know, in that Black Pyramid giving Jesse her instructions. So it's like, dude, have you paid attention to the story? The documents in the game tell you there's only been 4 directors in the entire history of the Bureau. There was the first guy, Director Ash. He died, or he retired, whatever. You had the second, Northmore. He met with an unfortunate fate. I won't spoil it for you, but it's pretty grim. He did not die. He suffered a fate worse than death. You have Trench, who committed suicide at the very beginning of the game, and then you have Jesse, who's the 4th. There is no board of former directors because all the former directors are dead or otherwise incapacitated. So the board cannot be ever the board of directors. It can't be the spirits of the former directors of the Bureau advising you and instructing you because they're all dead or incapacitated. One of them's even still alive. He's just, like I said, imprisoned in a fate worse than death. So obviously it's not the board of directors, and yet because it's called the board, people automatically assume it's all the directors who ever served the Bureau and they're all died. And because they saw this picture of like 24 men in the Central Executive, they see the picture on the wall and they see all the picture frames of the different old white men, and they assume, oh, those are all the former directors. No, the documents tell you outright there's only been 3 directors before Jesse. They tell it to you at the very beginning of the freaking game. Those people are just important scientists, financiers, congressmen, whatever. They're just important people to the Bureau, but they're not directors. The board is not and never has been composed of spirits from the former directors. The documents tell you this within like the first 2 hours of the game, and people still confusing. They see the board and they still think, oh, it must be made up of all the former directors of the Bureau. No! The game is telling you outright in the first 2 or 3 hours who the former directors are. Like, how can you read those documents and come up with that asinine theory? It makes no sense. People don't pay fucking attention. And then they wonder why writers are so reluctant to be subtle, because you can't pay attention for shit. It's stupid. Like the game's literally telling you, these are the 3 directors that served before Jesse. Here they are. There's no other. None. Zero. The board didn't exist until the Bureau didn't exist until 1954. And people are still saying, not even worse saying, they're still saying, I still seeing some of them saying, oh, I think it's composed of the 4 directors. Dude, the documents. Did you not read a single fucking document in the game? Did you just skip all of them with the triangle button? Like, people are fucking thick-headed. You can't do subtlety a lot of times with them anymore. You know, you can't. Because they're too stupid to comprehend what you're telling them. The general audience, like, not, there are plenty of smart fans, but the problem is there's too many dumb fans that don't understand. That's why people are so reluctant to do subtlety in games and movies and shows. And that's why then they get pissed off when they do it, because, oh, you got to be more clear. And then when you're more clear, they accuse you of being a hack. So you can't have it both ways. You can't demand that writers not be subtle and yet also be subtle at the same time. So it doesn't work. This room looks just like Dad's. It's more than just a resemblance. Dad's not sleeping in the bed though. There's a musty diary in the bed. Oh, it's musty. That means that diary needs to bathe or needs to shower. This writing, is this Dad's diary? Where would it be here? I sometimes have the sense even now that girl is a reincarnation of Alessa. I don't worry about it much now. That's all forgiven. This really bugs me, and I'll talk about it in a bit. You were unloved, Cheryl. Oh, where's that Alessa? Now Cheryl's Alessa again. No matter whose reincarnation she may have been, that girl was my most beloved treasure. But that name was a mistake. At the time, I thought of her only as a replacement from a lost Cheryl. When she knows the truth, will she feel bad? That's what worries me. Thanks, Dad. So I was Alessa after all. But I do have just a trace of one more memory left. I haven't forgotten my sweet and gentle mother. Here's another bit of the writers being too subtle for audiences. I've seen people say that this is Heather sarcastically stating her memories about Dahlia. Dude, she's stating her memories about Harry's wife. How fucking thick-headed can you be, you fucking idiot? I've seen people say literally on Silent Hill forums, back when I used to be on the mall, she's sarcastically stating memories about Dahlia. No, she's remembering Harry's wife, you fucking imbecile. God damn. And like I was saying, the thing about Remedy, the board, they make it pretty clear when the first 2 or 3 hours of the game, the board is an extra dimensional entity advising you in control. That's what the board does. They help you out from another dimension. They're a group of aliens advising you. They're a board from another dimension, extra dimensional beings. They're not the freaking deceased spirits of the former directors. And yet even that subtle fact stated outright in the game documents is still too subtle for people to grasp. It's frustrating as a fan of storytelling that everything has to be dumbed down. Oh, you want to block me, you motherfucker? God damn, he's invincible. Well, we got something for you. Got something for your freaking ass right here. As soon as we heal up. Where's all my supplies? Here we go. Here we go. As soon as we heal up. Yeah, fuck you. Piece of shit. With that bag. Oh, goddamn. I was about to say with that bag over your head. Goddamn, we got a second one. Son of a bitch. Well, fuck you then. Time to break out the shotgun again. We're gonna go around them and shoot them. There you go. Piece of trash. Yeah, fuck you. I don't care if you are a cult member. You got what you deserved. And remember, these guys are loyal followers of Claudia, not Vincent or the rest of the church. So they probably are actual church members transfigured into this monstrous form because it gives them power. Because remember, these are willing, loyal servants of Claudia, not reluctant people she's using. They're willingly following her. You know, that's why the first one's called a missionary, because he's her missionary. It's following her will. That is not the correct door. We're supposed to go to the opposite door. I'm glad I upped the brightness. At least we can see the game clearly, because this game gets dark as hell around this part. If you don't increase the brightness, you can barely see on this bridge, which makes it spooky, but it also makes it difficult to navigate. Should we kill this guy? Fuck it, let's try to kill him. Drop him into the abyss. Ah, you know what? Nah, skip these guys. They're too powerful. Yeah, skip these. These are... Fuck, there's another one of these guys. God damn. Getting overwhelmed. Damn, he flew like 12 feet. God damn, that really threw him back. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to kill those guys. I don't have the ammo or the health for this. So we just have to make do with the rest of the monsters. I think you have to kill 75 of them to get the bad ending. We should already have it, but I want to be certain just in case. There's Valtio playing yo-yo with his pet nurse. That would suck if that really is Lisa. Poor Lisa, she did all she could for a lesson, then just to end up as a yo-yo for some demonic angel thing in this version of hell. And it is hell. You can even see the steam rising there. We gotta kill those dudes, but let's see what's over here first. That one's broken. Let's check out the other door. So I changed my plans. I was gonna play Spider-Man 2 after this, but I'm not gonna be able to. Cause I don't have the appropriate time left to do so. Also, I think I wanted to play Resident Evil 2. I mean Resident Evil 4, because I want to finish that up because I want to play Alan Wake next. Oh, there's a picture right there. I'm guessing that's Dahlia when she was young. Not quite as hag looking like in Origins where she's younger there. There are playing cards on the floor. I used to play a lot. I remember little Claudia always had a hard time winning. That made her cry. I used to take these dolls with me when I went to bed. Scarlet and... damn, I forgot the other one's name. In fact, I don't even know which one is Scarlet. They look like aliens. Or spooks. This painting, I know is not really that, but it always reminded me of the whole Falls of Rauros from Lord of the Rings. Where you have the two statues. Remember those, the Argonath? That's what this painting reminds me of. This is some sort of landscape. Where is it from again? Well, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you can. It does remind me of it a bit. Like you can see the two sides of the mountains there, like when they're going through the on the river. What do they call that river? Anduin? Or I know the sword is Anduria. What do they call the river? There's all the butterflies, unless I like to collect bugs. There's Cheryl's notepad, drawing block. This is my sketchbook from 17 years ago. On the front cover here is a picture of Dad. Really awful work. What's this doing here? Oh, I hate this puzzle in hard. Yeah, I'm not reading this. This is way too much reading, but this is basically telling you the order to put the 5 magic cards. I'm just gonna look up on my phone because I have no patience for this puzzle. You can read it yourself if you want. Like it says, mission the upside down man on the ground. There's no one to his left. You have the moon up above. Your Excellency, that's the priestess. Scary and hateful, that thing in the night. That's the night eye or something like that. Then you have another one. So yeah, I'm just gonna look that up. I have no patience for that. I think I kind of remember the order they go in though. Oh look, there's drawings of the Silent Hill 1 monsters there. Look at that, there's a dog. There's the air screamer, which is based off the pterodactyl from The Mist. And remember, this came out before the movie, so they were really referencing the short story Stephen King wrote. This is a closet. It's meaningless to me. I don't have time to wax nostalgic over these old clothes. Who uses wax in that way anymore, Heather? You can tell kind of Alessa's old-fashioned thinking is slipping into her lexicon a bit, because who uses the word wax anymore to refer to talking? Nobody. My clothes from when I was 7, they don't fit me now. Good thing too. I don't know, I mean, uniforms aren't the worst thing. I have a drawing of her and Alessa switching clothes that looks kind of cute. In their, imagining Alessa as a grown-up, like Heather, and they switch clothes. And it's not a dirty picture, get your mind out of the gutter. But I mean, it's just switching styles, and Alessa's mortified and Heather is excited. It was one of those cute fan drawings people did back when there was a lot of fan artwork of the game. But uniforms aren't the worst thing in schools, you know, like, it depends on the uniform. Like, if it's stuffy and cheap quality, it can be hell to wear those things. Like, I've only worn a school uniform once, I believe. Or was it twice? I know it was on Puerto Rico school. Back when I was way younger. But the thing is, like, one of them was okay, but the other one, the shirt was scratchy and very rough. That's the thing, like, uniforms are... If done well, uniforms can be a positive thing. Like, it's supposed to evoke a school spirit. You know, we're all here together, we're all representing the same thing. But then if done badly, and if the texture work is bad on the clothes, like, they can just be really hell to wear those things for 6 to 8 hours a day. So it really all depends on the uniform, you know. I'm glad I'm out of school. I don't have to deal with any of that crap. But yeah, they're not the worst thing in the world, but they can be made the worst thing in the world for kids if they're not handled properly. Now, if the uniforms look cool, like in Persona games, and yeah, at that point, you might actually enjoy wearing them compared to your normal everyday clothes, because it's a chance to wear something different. You know, makes you look a bit more professional. Here's the closer monster. You can see right there. You always see him in the PS2 version, but this is the first time I've seen it's actually green, so it actually is reflecting the one in the church, because before that they were brown or flesh colored or whatever, but that was actually green. So yeah, it is actually the monster that's waiting for us in the church, the one we killed back there, because I always saw it in the PS2 version, but like I said, I couldn't really tell the texture. I thought it was brown, but no, it's actually green now that I look at it. So yeah. The scribbling on the floor here is Alessa's. For some reason, she always drew monsters like this when she was alone. Yeah, but she got it based off of reading all the books she read. The shelves are jammed with books. The top shelf has books on religious teachings and textbooks, serious stuff. The other 2 shelves are full of fairy tale books like Oz and Alice. Here's Mother Goose and Cinderella. I used to love these. So Dahlia was giving her a well-rounded education, heavy religious studies and then fairy tales. So that explains why Alessa is the way she is and a bit screwed up. Although at the same time, in theory, it means that if she could remember her full memory, she wouldn't fall prey to any more religious bullshit, because she would know the histories of all those religions beforehand. So she would probably be more of a religious expert than most actual people. That picture there, the one of their house next to Dahlia. Dahlia looks really clear here, by the way. She doesn't look as clear in the PS2 version. But that picture of the solitary house that was the Gillespie house always reminds me of this movie called Paper House, which I have not seen. I've wanted to see it over and over again, and I keep forgetting to watch it because it's very hard to obtain. It doesn't stream anywhere as far as I know. I'd have to look it up. Maybe it's on Tubi or something, but the DVD costs insane. I think the DVD costs like $75 for that movie. Or at least it used to. I don't know if it costs. Maybe we can get it for like 38 or 40 now, but it used to be really expensive because it was only available in Europe, in the UK. Supposedly it's a really good movie, and it's about this girl who finds that she and her brother can kind of walk into like this drawing of a paper house that she has, and it's like this whole other world there where there's only like one person there, and there's this whole house for them to explore. So it kind of treads reality a bit. It blurs the line of what's real and what isn't, kind of like Silent Hill. So I think they might have taken inspiration from that when they designed this, because the Gillespie house looks really similar to the paper house in that film. And you even see it, like if you ever find a cover, The cover is really creepy too. It has this girl, I think it's the main character, kneeling on the ground, reaching out like she's praying to God, and you have the house in the background and it's saying, "Is anyone out there?" And it's like she's trying to send a radio transmission, because I think at one point, I think the characters do get kind of marooned in that auto reality, I think, after something goes horribly wrong. So I've heard it's a really, really good film, and it's actually based off a miniseries they did back in the 50s, I believe, or the 60s on the BBC, which are, they've kind of been lost. I think the episodes are online on YouTube, but they're very, very poor quality. Like, there's not really a quality version that you can watch. And it was a 6-part miniseries, and then they got adapted into a movies in like the 80s, and it's one of those movies that probably every horror fan should get around to checking out, because I'm sure it influenced a lot of what was put into Silent Hill. Definitely. So Paper House from like, I think it's 1988. So look that up. Look up that movie. You'll instantly recognize the Gillespie house as soon as you see the cover of that film. Instantly. Or even just a poster. I know it wasn't me, unless I wrote this a long time ago. That chapel altar, it wasn't that one beautiful chapel, some other altar somewhere. But yeah, the one in the Green Lion antique shop that Dahlia owned. And here's the note from Harry, the final thing in this room. If it seems like I'm taking a lot of time to go into all the lore and stuff, remember that I'm not going to play this game again for a long, long time. So I want to make sure I cover everything. A memo book. Something's written inside. She's just beyond this door. I don't know how, but I can sense it. But she's not the only one there. I sense the presence of something extremely dangerous, even sickening, or maybe what they call God. Nevertheless, I will open the door. Enough of this idle chit-chat. Crap, I skipped past it. Looks like Dad wrote this one too. This memo was written 17 years ago. God, I'm not, but I fully intend to save her. No, them. God in quotation marks. Last entry was written some 17 years ago. Looks like Dad wrote this too. Those are the save paths from the original game. That's a nice touch. I always like that. When they use stuff like that with as details in the game and it actually makes sense. I always like that. You know, it's not just pointless fan service. It's actually serving the narrative of the game. Okay, now we can go kill these guys. How are we doing on ammo? Okay, we're very low, so we gotta be careful. Yeah, the one thing I was gonna say about Harry that bugs me is the fact that even then he still doesn't seem like he quite appreciates what Alessa went through. Like, this girl was literally tortured almost to death by her own mother. Literally burned alive to serve as a host for this parasitic god. Spent those 7 years in the basement. Watched Lisa get it transformed into this drug-addicted nurse who then just lost all touch with reality and probably got killed by Kaufman. So she lost the only person she even thought cared about her. Because they're not really even really clear whether Lisa actually cared that much or whether she was just doing her job. Harry knows all this because he found all the memos in the first game and he still doesn't quite comprehend exactly everything that happened to her. He says, "Oh, you were in love, Alessa." Really? No shit, Harry. No shit. That's the prime definition of unlove there. You asshole. So concerned over his Cheryl. And it's still like he's thinking of Cheryl and Alessa being two separate entities. They're not. They're the same person, you dumbass. You know this. You read everything in the first memo and you had Dahlia tell it to you at the very end in your face. And he still doesn't want to accept it. I get that he grew close to Cheryl. And that was his daughter. But goddamn, Harry, you're thick as fuck. Thick-headed as fuck. Goddamn. Like, only James is more thick-headed than you, and that's because he's a complete moron. Like, you, Jesus. Henry's way smarter than those guys. Even though I don't like Henry at all because he's 99% bland protagonist. He has not an ounce of character in him, but intelligence-wise, he just accepts everything he gets told to about Walter and just pieces it together. So he's way smarter than those two dudes. But yeah, it's like he still resents Alessa for supposedly taking away his Cheryl. And it's like, dude, they're the same person. They were always the same person. You denying that is not going to change that. And neither is blaming Alessa for all the stuff that Dahlia did. So yeah, I kind of didn't like Harry for a while there at all. Thought he was a jackass, you know. I've since come to appreciate him more in recent games because I've come to realize he's not supposed to be a perfect parent, just a determined one. You know, he's still thick-headed, he still makes stupid mistakes, there are still things he doesn't want to accept because it's not convenient for him, but overall, underneath it all, he was a good dude to some extent. You know, it's just he made some mistakes and he doesn't want to accept some things because they clash with his worldview. You know, but it doesn't make him a monster. So I really kind of resented Harry there for a while there. I did not like him at all. Like I said, because he sounds like a terrible father. I've since come to realize that he's like I said, he's not supposed to be a perfect dad. He's just supposed to be a determined one. There is a difference. You can be determined and still try to save your kid and whatnot without being a picture perfect angel. Damn, these guys are strong. The toxic waste gives them inhuman strength. It's like a shell. It's protecting them. How's our handgun ammo looking? Oh, we got plenty. Yeah, the toxic waste is giving them superhuman strength. Or at least superhuman endurance. Look at it, it's literally green. It's mold. Or toxic slime. Like from Nickelodeon. I guess it could be pus. Maybe. The stuff you get when something's infected. God damn, they won't die. And he has that carousel maneuver there. Finally, Jesus Christ. That's a protective barrier right there, because it only takes like 10 shots to kill the regular closers. It took like 20 shots to kill those dudes, so yeah, that definitely enhances them a bit. That coating, whatever it is. I saw a picture of this by one very huge fan of Resident Evil on Twitter, or X as they call it, saying this is art. I agree, this is art. Look at the symbolism there. The left one is Alessa, the right one is Cheryl. You even see the schoolgirl socks there on the uniform. But the dress is red. So it's like the veil that God wears at the end. Or it looks like something like a priest of a cult would wear. There's Valtio maintaining the other world. So that Val basically maintains the transformation, I guess. Too bad we can't shoot him. I wonder what would happen if we did shoot him. He probably wouldn't take it well.